Welcome back. This will be the final installment of my fork videos. Get a little bit closer here. There we go. Is that better? Okay. So this will be the final video in this fork rebuilding Odyssey series. The point of this video is multifold. First of all, my new springs finally came, so I'm going to put those in. Second, I made a mistake with the valving, I believe. Let me see if I can point out where that mistake was. In the base valve, is this the right picture? Yes. Is it? That's the rebound valve. Hang on, where's my... I think this is a fork. Okay. In the base valve, there we go. I had to put in some spacers because the shim stack and the valve, the whole assembly was shorter, the Racetech assembly was shorter than the factory assembly. Okay, so I had to put in some spacers to make sure that all this got clamped in right and all that good stuff. But I went wrong in I put the spacers here between this what they call this base plate and the shim stack. And what I had essentially done by putting those spacers there is kind of create a secondary valving that would be as hard as a rock. I mean, I would not have liked this valving. I want the spacers to be in there to space this out, but I don't want the spacers to participate in the damping. That's the thing. So where I put them down here at the bottom of the valve stack, they could very easily have participated in the damping. So I called Racetech this morning, talked to him about that. That was simply a misunderstanding. The wording of the directions is a little vague. I mean, it says, I can read it to you right here. Blah, blah, blah. To get the proper total valve stack thickness, you may need to place some of the original shims on the shaft just after the base plate. Any shims added must be larger in diameter than the last shim in the stack. So the way the wording, I mean, that's right after the base plate. Okay, so the wording is a little bit weird. So I called Racetech and we talked about it. And they advised me to put it here in between the nut and this cup-shaped washer. So again, you get the right spacing, the clamping, but the spacers do not participate in the damping. Okay, so we want to put in our new springs. We want to fix this problem, and I want to see if I can take out the base valve without having to take the forks apart. That's why we're putting in the springs first. So this will be a fun learning experience. All right, let's get started. I have my fork just kind of clamped to the bench there, and I'm going to back off this top cap. I didn't put this on very tight because I knew I'd be coming back here and redoing all this when I got my springs. Oh, by the way, before I get too started on this, I'd like to point out a couple things. First of all, here is my factory connection spring. They actually have the spring rate written right here on the side of the spring. I wish that it would be etched in there or maybe stamped in here. That would make it a lot better, because this part of the spring actually rubs and it can wear off. But anyway, I got 0.49 kilogram per millimeter springs. Racetech suggested, a 0.55. I thought that was a little stiff. My stock forks are 0.46. So this is what did I say it was, 0.49. I didn't have major complaints with bottoming of the front. I did bottom the front from time to time. My bottoming complaint was mostly the shock in the rear. So I wanted slightly stiffer fork springs, but I didn't want to go like Supercross stiff. Okay. Oh, and the other thing to note, here's my original spring. It has, I don't know what you call that, where the loops are kind of looped together tightly at one end and I guess not tightly at the other end. I'm not sure what that means, but here's an interesting thing to note. This factory connection spring is an inch longer than the stock spring. Yeah, a whole inch. I'm not sure what that's going to do. That's going to change my ride height. I know that for sure. But we'll see how much fun this is to put in. Okay, so we'll take the cap loose, take it off, just pull this whole mess out, and I left that little metal cup kind of fall in there, so I'm going to use my little pick tool here to get it out. Oh, come on now. Kind of cantankerous. There we go. So we're just going to take this cap off. I'm sure this will go nice and easy and there won't be any problems at all. Yeah. Take this all apart. We'll pull the rod all the way out. And we'll just drop the new spring into place. Okay. So now we'll put this cap back on. Put this whole mess back together. I'm just holding the spring down with one hand, trying to put the cap back on with the other. And this is not going so well. There we go. Okay. So then we'll take, oh wow, that's a little tight. A little wrench here. Put some torque on this. Not a lot. It doesn't need to be super tight. Good and tight, we'll say. Tight enough. And I'll let the fork out of its clamp and tighten this up. There we go. I just put the forks, my spring, my fork is together. Set this over here. I'm going to reposition the camera. Bear with me.